How you guys doing today? Today is August 30th. I hope you're having a good day or that you had a good day depending on when you're listening to this. My name's Brady Labe and this is my co-host Jackson Parnell. Say hi, Jackson.
Hello, everybody,
And we are here today to serve justice, love mercy.
and walk humbly.
Yes, we are. We have a few things lined up for today. We're going to be doing Debbie Scott's. She spoke, I don't know where she spoke at, but she spoke on LNG's effects on fishermen. I have that video lined up. Then we're going to do the NCSE convention. A little video. We're going to play about the first 2 minutes of the video and then discuss it going into some of climate change education, the education systems, how they're interpreting climate change, the way they're teaching it, some statistics on that. And then we're going to finish it off with a little bit of a segment on what you can do to respond to EPA's legislation and your opinion on it, so that you can get involved and pressure our government to do what we want them to do, which is what they're there for on this episode of Mission 68. But first, let's get into some personal news. This Sunday, I'm going to mention it again, September 1st, there's a grocery giveaway. Show up 2 to 4 p.m. at the Village Coffee House. We're going to be there. Me and Jackson are going to be there. Dylan is not going to be there. We learned yesterday after we
That's
finished
sad.
recording. Yeah, unfortunately, you won't be able to get to meet Dylan. A new event. It's not going to be until later in September. I didn't write the date down for some reason, but I'll mention it another day. It's going to be a free family night at Henning United Methodist Church Family Life Center. That's a really long name for a church. Henning United Methodist Church Family Life Center. It starts at 6:30 p.m. We're going to have popcorn, beverages, and ice cream, all for free. And we're showing the free showing of Avatar: The Way of Water, which I saw when it came out. Did you see it, Jackson?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty good. And I guess it's on brand for Micah 6.8 since it's environmentalist. So it's
Yeah,
if anyone watched the first Avatar, it's a very climate message because the guys are trying to what are they trying to do
they're trying to like
in the
deplete
first
like
one?
a alien world of like all its resources,
Yeah,
basically.
they're destroying the environment while they're at it. But at least they're not doing it on Earth. We are anyway. All right, let's move on to the news. So I'm going to start by playing the video of Debbie Scott, um, and what she had to say about how it affected her personal fisherman life. She does shrimping. She has her own personal shrimp boat. So let's move on to that. I'm going to play that clip now.
But my shrimp boat sits 1 mile from this plant. And my captain has been shrimping out here in these waters for over 58 years. And lots of times we go out on the buoy the night before and spend the night. You can imagine the excitement Sunday night whenever it was the day before shrimping season. We went out there and cooked and stayed out on the buoy waiting for the next morning to start the shrimp season. And about 7 o'clock, an LNG boat ship came through and almost flipped us over, losing everything in the boat. Ice chest, net flew off, salt bag, paddles, everything that was on the back. The captain had to jump in and save the bag and maybe a couple of baskets, and I had to pull him in with all the current. Now this is, it's great about LNG with all these employing all these people, that's great, but what about the small people, the fishermen, the shrimpers, the crabbers that are in this area? Their livelihoods here. And a ship comes through, no respect for the shrimpers or the fishers.
Hmm. Hello?
I forgot to unmute my mic. That was Debbie Scott. Whoops. I muted it so that I wouldn't accidentally make noise during the video. I
Yeah,
don't know where she was speaking there. Maybe some public hearing.
that's what it
Um,
looked like. Yeah.
but yeah, I didn't know. I'm not a shrimper. I don't really go fishing that often. Um, that's pretty upsetting to hear about. That the boats, they must be really big boats. I'm guessing if they
Yeah.
make waves big enough to flip over those little boats.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. Does LNG, it's liquefied natural gas. It doesn't pollute the water, does it?
Um, maybe not directly.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, so we wanted to give Debbie a little bit more of a platform here today. I think that was very nice that she spoke out about some concerns she had. Definitely good.
Because that's just like blatant malpractice of the business to be that careless around smaller vessels.
Yeah, I guess they just don't really care a whole lot. But yeah, thanks Debbie for speaking up about that. It takes a lot of bravery to stand up in front of a bunch of people and mention that. It's always good to hear from our community about their
Yeah.
interests, about what they're upset about. So yeah, thanks Debbie. Um, we're gonna move on to the NCSC. So they are a nonprofit organization as well, and they are interested in dispelling scientific misunderstandings, or rather, that maybe that sometimes the general consensus of the population, socially hot topic issues are not always hot topic issues in the scientific community. That being that they're typically generally agreed upon. One of those things being climate change, which we're going to play a portion of the video today, probably about the first 2 minutes, and then we're going to talk about maybe a little bit the rest of the video. We watched it before, um, and what we think about it. So I'm going to play that clip right now. All right, here we go.
The Department of Education in the U.S. state of Florida recently pressured textbook publishers to remove references to climate change, especially human-caused climate change, from science textbooks used in the state, as the Orlando Sentinel reported in early July 2024. This caught my attention, since I'm Glenn Branch, Deputy Director of the National Center for Science Education, a nonprofit organization that defends the teaching of socially controversial but scientifically uncontroversial topics like evolution and climate change. In Florida's censorship efforts, middle school science textbooks, those for students grades 6 through 8, ages 11 through 14, suffered especially, since Florida's science standards, to which textbooks must conform, do not include the topic of climate change at all at the middle school level. Well, climate change education is a critical component of any plan for responding to climate change, simply because future generations will face the challenges of dealing with the disruptions owing to climate change, and thus need to be equipped with the requisite knowledge and know-how to cope with them. Ed Maybach, a climate change communications expert at George Mason University, has helpfully encapsulated the basics of climate change in 8 monosyllables. It's real, it's us, it's bad, there's hope. I'm going to add a corollary here, inevitably in the form of 2 more syllables: teach it. So it's not hard to understand why the nation's leading science education organizations, like the National Science Teaching Association, call for climate change education in primary, secondary, and higher education. Yet Americans are currently unlikely to study climate change during their formal education.
Hello?
I did it again. I forgot again
insane.
that I started talking about it again. I muted my mic. Okay, whatever. So yeah, that was a pretty good introduction to what we were wanting to talk about. That's something that I kind of deal with. Is there's a lot of people, a lot of sentiment that people have very big misunderstandings of scientific consensus. A lot of the times that they'll just say that something's just like a theory, like the
Yeah.
not understanding that scientific theories are not like, oh
It's
yeah,
very different from the typical meaning of theory.
yeah, no, a theory, yeah, theories in science are to be bestowed the title of theory in as a scientific anything takes so much rigorous peer review and studying that at that point the theory is like it's not just like we're like this is pretty evidentially backed up
Yeah. Practically treated as like fact.
as factual, like there's almost no doubt about it. So that's kind of what they're getting at here. And they kind of go on to discuss more about its effect in education and when's an important time
Yeah.
to educate them. So the bigger issue is that it's undertaught at middle school levels, which is a crucial point in time to be taught about climate issues. It's something that in your development is something to be important to learn that this is the staple of a staple of the world. This is something that you're gonna have to deal with, especially our people in middle school right now. This is important for them to learn because they're going to be living in a world where it actively affects them. I think not a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah.
They typically seem to avoid it. I think not previously. Most teachers didn't teach climate change, or at least not climate change in its entirety. Perhaps they would leave out the fact that it's man-made, or that there's some mixed sentiments about it. And the reason this is harmful is because it's not a debate, really. That's just factual. It's not a debate, and it's a very serious issue that needs to be
Yeah.
taken very seriously by the youth.
And not to mention just kind of the general importance of educating people on like matters like this, because I know I've had this experience with tons of people. Is there are like social issues like climate change that they aren't as concerned about as they should be, and it's simply just a consequence of them not being educated on the matter. So like if you don't actually know what sort of problems are even happening, you're not going to be activated to do something about it, you know?
Yeah, I think education, especially in that, so that's only one aspect of it to me. I think in the video it mentioned that there was maybe about 38% of the population had a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
And this isn't everyone's. Well, college is expensive in Louisiana or in everywhere in the United States is expensive, and there's never a point in time where a population shouldn't be educated. So that's something that I should harp on before we move on, is that even with people, and I've heard this sentiment expressed a lot, that people who go into college for liberal art degrees, perhaps that they're um, I don't know, gender studies or political science or something like that. There's the sentiment that this is a waste of time, and that's not true, because it is never a bad thing to be educated. It is never
Yeah.
bad to have an educated population, because typically an educated population,
It's a
despite
more productive
it's more
population.
productive. They're more being more educated. They're more aware of issues. They're more likely to respond to those issues, and there's less pushback against each other, because if people are fighting against each other because they disagree, well then there's more conflict in disagreeing. There's more commotion. It's noisier than
It's more about finding out who's right than finding the truth.
and taking those appropriate steps, which is
Yeah.
exactly case in point with climate change, because there are people who deny that climate change is real. Certain people running for office that will be unnamed don't believe in it, which is, I mean, I'm not even going to say anything about it. It's not true. It's not true. It's happening, it's happening all around us. People are saying, well, this isn't true. And that's causing it's unproductive, because you're spending more time educating people who don't believe it than actually doing something towards making it better.
Um, and a lot of people have a problem connecting these concepts together because I know I've experienced this a lot with family members when I discuss topics like climate change. Is they can't seem to wrap their head around why somebody would be willing to uh, dispel like this climate disinformation, and it's just a simple matter of looking into the backgrounds of these organizations that are advocates against spreading the truth of climate change, and seeing how they're connected to groups and organizations that directly profit from these industries which are causing the climate crisis.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and it makes sense because it's money. It's backed by money. Anything that backs by money, and that's been shown throughout history. Anything that's backed by money, even still now, there's sentiment against certain things that isn't really as relevant anymore. Like, just to draw an example, like the Red Scare, that was really effective. Um, I don't even think people know, and not like that. We're talking about this episode, but some people don't even know what communism is. But it's like saying a curse word, like when you saying socialism.
Yeah.
And those are sentiments that are expressed. Those are always backed up by money because it's against the interest of the people who have money. If everyone gets together and says, "Hey, we don't like climate change," that's going to be bad for the industries that benefit from expelling
Yeah.
greenhouse gases. So I mean, it makes sense, and it makes sense that they push propaganda against. For people to believe that it's actually not as big of a deal as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But moving back a little bit to the teacher part of it, the education part of it, there's actually some good news. There has been a large percent increase in teachers who are emphasizing on scientific consensuses when they teach about climate change in their classroom. So before, about 10 years ago, not that many teachers were emphasizing that it was, man-made. So now that's not really happening as much anymore. It's as time is going on, it seems that more and more teachers are teaching what is accurate to the scientific community's findings.
Yeah.
That's really good news. I think that paints a hopeful tone towards the future, that hopefully it continues to increase that way, so that more youth is aware of what's happening and maybe can take action towards it, get involved. But there is a little bit of a downside. There were some mixed messages. So there seems to be a type of rhetoric that is being taught, because most of the time when teachers are teaching, there is some personal opinions that come into it. It's not always from their curriculum. So this was from a survey that the NCSE did. They have mixed messages when they're teaching about the scientific consensus, because they represent it as though it's a controversy in the scientific community that, climate change, 50% of scientists are like, climate change is happening, but there's a large handful of climate scientists that are saying, no, actually it's not happening. That's not true. That's not even
Yeah,
close.
it is an overwhelming majority consensus that it is a large problem.
Yeah, it's about they give it about 81 to 100% of scientists, which is a little not generous, because they converge in the more accurate number to that all the scientists converge on. So it's about 97% of scientists agree.
And the reason, besides educators just holding that opinion, that it's a much more evenly split disagreement, the only reason that perception is perceived is, again, just follow the money behind scientists that are being upheld for their contrary beliefs of climate change. Just see who's backing them, who's giving them their megaphones, basically. And you will see that it is, again, like corporate interests that are backing these people who are spreading false claims against the climate change.
Yeah. All to say, this isn't a debate. We're not it's happening. So it's good that we're slowly starting to teach it. It was slowly starting to get more and more accurate. Some more good news. The same nonprofit and the NCSC and the Texas Freedom Network Education Fund gave Louisiana a B in how accurate. They graded every single state, and Louisiana got a B on how accurate our climate teaching was, which Texas. What was Texas was an F.
Texas was an F, yes.
So take that, Texas. You don't got everything on us.
I think we were like one of the only uh states like in the like south sort of region to even get like a passing grade.
Yeah,
Most
no,
of them are like C's and D's.
yeah, B's. I mean, we
Yeah.
want an A, but B's good. That's definitely. I didn't expect it to be a B. Um, yeah. So that's about it for this story. Um, we're gonna move on to some more EPA stuff. The EPA has some recommendations, or not the EPA, but Vital Signs, the Environmental Defense Fund, has some advice for you what you should do if you're concerned about maybe some of the EPA legislation, or maybe you're thinking the EPA isn't doing enough. Which, spoiler alert, in our area, they're not. They could be a lot tougher. So why? Well, here, let's get into it. Let me discuss it first before I say why. Um, so what they're encouraging you to do is to directly write to the EPA. You could do that through a customizable letter, which incorporates chemical data. So we can help with that. Micah 68 has a lot of info on that. So maybe we'll go a little bit more into depth off camera and get you the exact numbers you need to write the letter. But every single letter is another thing that they have to look at. They have to look at the letters that they write in their inbox, their box, their whatever. That's creating noise. That the people who live in these communities are affected and they want change. So by providing this information, you're incentivizing the EPA to actually take action, because they realize that there's going to be a pushback, some uproar. That's why it's so important. So we encourage anyone who's listening to start writing to the EPA. And it doesn't have to be like, like a poet. Just, write what you don't have to be like or an English major or something.
Yeah, just air out your grievances.
Yeah, let it out.
Tell them your problems.
Yeah,
But
just like
hopefully
Debbie.
ones that are related to the environment. Don't tell them about your breakup or anything.
Yeah, they can't unfortunately do anything about that. But yeah, that's the they were doing a report on the pollution in certain areas. They have a little map that I'll show really quickly. It's gonna look a little weird because I'm just in the tab right now, but I'll just show it for anyone on the radio. It's just a map of the chemical releasing facilities. They have dots on the map representing what kind it is, and here's Louisiana. Here's where we are. So
Louisiana is completely covered.
yeah, it's covered, and especially our area, there's big old orange dots, which means cancer, development harm, and asthma. So if you want to look at this website to read the rest of the article to see exactly what, I wonder if you can go and like click it maybe. Oh,
neat.
hold on, let's go look at ours. Yes, we got red too, baby. Oh, it doesn't tell me. Oh, wow. Yeah, there's us right here. So here's our dots.
Very concentrated around us. It's completely blank apart from right here.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, go ahead and start writing those letters, folks. Get your pen and paper out. Get your email going.
What's the URL for the podcast audience?
Oh, yes, the URL for this right here?
Yeah,
I don't know. How do you want to say the whole URL?
just the first part.
It is experience.arcgis.com. So if you want to go take the look at the map yourself, go ahead and do that there. We don't have any other stories today. So I think we're going to wrap it up here.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a pretty good little spot to wrap it up. I don't think there's anything we do. Is there anything you want to say before we wrap up, Jackson?
All I would say is thank you all for tuning into the first week. I
Yeah,
think
we've got
it
some
went
good
pretty
feedback.
well, all things considered.
Yeah.
Expect improvement over the next few airings. We got stuff going in the works. We want to make it better for you.
Yeah, we are brewing it. We're brewing. We got it. We
Is that
got
a
the
coffee
post.
joke?
No, well, it can be. I've got a coffee
You got your
hat
coffee
on
hat
right
on
now.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're brewing some tasty cups of better content, better information, and more community interaction. Because that's what we definitely want to start doing more community interaction. I've got a few ideas for that personally. We'll save those though. Thanks for listening, guys.
Hmm.
We'll be here Monday because
Yeah.
we're off on the weekends now. So we'll be recording again Sunday, but you won't hear from us again till Monday unless we'll be posting on YouTube, but
Yeah.
we won't record again till Monday. All right, love you guys.
Bye.
Stay safe. See some of you Sunday, I hope.
Yes, please.
Come Sunday.
Bye bye.
Bye.